I don't have time to write anything down. I'm going to do jot notes just like I've kind of jot noted my life. And what am I going to say to everybody here about sort of my mission or my pitch? And my pitch to you tonight is going to be this: just show up. I'm 51. I got 3 kids. Thank you. That's because I show up. When I've lived a very unconventional life. And so I'm here to tell you how you're going to navigate through the 21st century, because you need a different toolbox now than you needed when you were born in 1963 like I was. When you were born in 1963 like I was, you needed to know how to read, write, and be good at your arithmetic. And you were going to get a linear job, and you were going to be an accountant or a lawyer or a teacher, and you were going to go places. That's not the world that we're living in now. We are living in an interconnected global village where connection is important, creativity is important, courage is important, and ultimately the confidence to show up is important. So my 3 C's that I'm telling everybody, especially my 3 kids that I'm raising that are 12, 9, and 7, boy, girl, boy, the 3 things they need in their toolbox, the fundamental keys to success in the 21st century are creativity, confidence, and courage. Now, when I was growing up, I was fairly creative. But I was growing up in the latter part of the 20th century where we were exhorted to take that linear path to success and achievement. And so I went through that path because that's what I was exhorted to do. I was told, go and get your BA and then go and study harder and go and get your LLB. And I bought it hook, line, and sinker. Looking back from the vantage of 51, I say to myself, where did I go wrong? When I was in high school, every single day I wore a different outfit that I designed and sewed and stitched myself. Obviously creativity was in my DNA, right? And that's important now for the 21st century. And now that I'm the age that I am and I'm looking at our changing landscape and how we're going to deal with it, I'm grateful that it's in my DNA. But I say to all of you, it's in all of our DNA. We just connect and bring it out and show up, right? You never know when you take that next step or open a door where it's going to lead you. Let me give you an example. I went to the Bamboo. I don't know, you're probably too young, but you've heard about the Bamboo. So I went to the Bamboo after I'd finished up at law school, and I actually went out with one of my law school professors. So we went out, and I got tapped on the back by somebody who asked me to dance. I'm like, okay, whatever, asked to dance. I have maintained a friendship with this person over the course of, it was 1994 that I showed up, went out to the Bamboo, got tapped on the back, and got connected. In 2001, so fast forward from 1994 to 2001, I was meeting this friend of mine. We were in Paris, and he told me that he was starting up this little project. And that, maybe I should read about his little project. Fast forward to 2006, again in France, I'm showing up. I get a call from this guy, and he says, I've got this little project, and I'd like you to be a part of it. Well, I'm a criminal lawyer, so I'm like, what do you mean you want me to be a part of a project? He said, just come here, we'll go out for drinks, and you'll sign a contract. So I signed a contract to be an agent for this law firm. I didn't know what I was signing or what I was doing. He said, it's simple, just sign up. At the what I was signing up for was to hold the Facebook domain name in Canada. So if you do the reverse search for facebook.ca, it's me, just a simple little criminal lawyer. But that was through the power of connection and maintaining from somebody that I just met, going out and being social. So most of you are here, you're in your 20s or your 30s, and it's really important to plant the seeds of connectivity and with the people that are here and as many people as you can get into contact with and do a variety of things. So that was just a random encounter that led to this. I've been friends with him ever since. he went out, his little project, and he went out and he got Amazon, Skype, Facebook, you name it, he got it. His one that he was very pleased with getting was Playboy. He went down to the Chicago mansion and he landed that. So what he did, he dreamt up this idea of being a non-linear lawyer and corralling these new burgeoning technology firms to come and allow this law firm to do the domain name management. And of course, out of that, you'll get the intellectual property work. So I'm a criminal lawyer that holds domain names, sexy things like Facebook, which make me think I'm kind of on the cutting edge, but I digress. So my story, besides that I did these, designed all these clothes when I was a teenager, is that I always showed up. So in my undergraduate, I did a lot. And now that I'm in my 50s, those people that I connected with and I did a lot with, they're hitters and they're players. And I can pick up the phone and connect with people at the top of their field. And so at your age and stage of life, have the courage to show up, make the connection, make the call, make the friendship, look the people in the eye and listen to their story. Because when you make that investment in them, it's going to return many, many, many times over to you. So when I was in my undergraduate, I wrote, I did politics, I held multiple jobs, studied. I didn't study that much. I was out there doing and showing up, having a lot of fun, because sociability is really the most important takeaway. I talk about the 3 C's, but really boiling it down, it's sociability, caring about other people, much of what Murray said, you know? Look them in the eyes, listen to their stories, welcome them in, be open to new experiences. I went into law school, continued with the same thing. I was not at the top of my class. I was probably at the bottom of my class. But I invested a lot in social capital. And my best friend, she's going off now to manage a certain somebody's foundation in Seattle. You know, so a power of connection. Reaching out, making that investment, it will return. I went off to a storied, blue blood Bay Street law firm. I was the first woman in Bay Street, 1988, to have the guts to wear pants. Women didn't wear pants. You were cookie cutter, you were a man. I wore pants. After my European trip, I wore skirts with no shaved legs. I was out there, okay? Apparently, blonde. Apparently, they had a little talk about whether or not they should take me aside and tell me that this was career suicide. And then they determined that perhaps they better not because Karen would litigate the hell out of them or something. In any event, they allowed me to jump back on the bandwagon as an associate in those towers, which I found somewhat suffocating. But so I left and went on my own, and I showed up there. There was nobody to really pattern myself after as a criminal defense barrister. I was scared to death to do my first brief. Scared to death. First time I went into a courtroom, I sweated through those clothes that I had designed. Had to ditch them, put them in the garbage. And I said to myself, I'm going to keep doing this until I'm not afraid anymore. I'm just going to keep showing up and doing it. And in short order, having the courage to show up put me on TV, put me doing those hour-long things. And when I was doing that, trust me, I was scared. I'd be in that green room saying, please, God, make sure, the sweat doesn't show, please. I'd get off, I'd finish, thank you. I didn't swear, right? An hour long, because I'm a bit of a stevedore. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. That's what you do, right? I was out not too long, and with the sort of attitude and mindset of showing up, I was young, and I was hired on the most notorious murder brief in our city. April 5th, 1994, Vivi Lamonis was shot at Just Desserts up at DuPont and Avenue. And I was hired a year later, and my client was the only man to be acquitted in that thing. What did I do there? I shot up, kept my cards close to my chest, and defended my guy. I went up against, I had to speak truth to power, and I had to go up against the grain, and O'Neill Grant walked. But I showed up there. I was afraid, and I did it. So not only was I raised in that sort of mid or late 20th century, be a linear girl, be a good girl kind of mindset, I was raised in a, typically WASP family. And, my father wanted me to marry an investment banker or a lawyer. What did I have to do? I had to fall hook, line, and sinker for this handsome dishwasher turned into a waiter who was a cross between Jean-Claude Van Damme and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so I was, with denim blue eyes, I was done. No investment banker, no lawyer for me. My father is still woeing the day. So, again, living kind of creatively, a little on the edge, kind of like being in the criminal courts and taking it, going after people in power. So he and I had a great love affair, but he went to France to learn how to be a 3-star Michelin chef, and when you look like that, women, you shouldn't send the guy off there by himself. So we had a little bit of a parting of the ways, as I like to say. He took a walk in the park like Pierre Elliott Trudeau did back in 1972, I think it was, when he went walking in the snow. And I didn't know where the guy was, but I was there with two young children. And I got the call from him, and he said, Chérie, can I come back now? And I said, hell no. Hell no. I had raging pneumonia. And I was taking my 4-year-old, just turned 4-year-old, out to the ice rinks, because, of course, his father was Quebecois, so that's what you do with the 4-year-old whose father is Quebecois. You make sure he can skate. So I had pneumonia. Kid was skating, January, up at Ramsden. And then I decided I needed a course of antibiotics, get the antibiotics. And then I don't know if any of you here have been pregnant, but I looked down, and I'm like, ooh, that looks like something familiar. So he gave me a little last parting shot. And so now, baby number 3 we've got, and my life, I was completely not, this just rocked my world. Rocked my world. So 2007, knocked up, 2 kids, complete loser. Complete loser, okay? I think I'm, 44. 44 beached whales sitting on my couch going, what am I going to do? Everybody is reading Eat, Pray, Love. And I get hideously sick when I'm pregnant. 60 times a day, vomiting. Lose the feeling in my hand. So I've got, a 15-month-old, and I've got this 4-year-old, and I'm puking. But I'm not taking that man back. I am not taking him back, so I'm lying and I'm highlighting. Eat, pray, love. I'm highlighting it. I'm looking for guidance. And the whole time I'm thinking, she got $1 million advance? Like, hello? I emailed Ali Belshi. I go, listen, I helped you get started in this. When you needed a place in New York, when you left, he was with our breakfast show in the morning, Canada AM. I said, when you left Canada AM and you needed a place to stay, I gave you my girlfriend's address in New York, the one that's going off to the foundation in Seattle. I said, you better come home for me now. I need that $1 million. No response. I love the guy, but no response. So I'm like, okay, I'll just keep doing this. So I was, like the beached whale, trying to find serenity, I guess like Murray was telling us about. And the closest I could come to it was this. I am going to go into this, what I call the bow state, just pretending like it's not happening. So I lived a pregnancy pretending that it wasn't happening. I just pasted that smile to my face, and I went to Italy, and I went to Burma, and I went to wherever else she went, all in my mind. And it was awesome. And I kept smiling, That baby was delivered, but he didn't have a name for 9 months because I kept trying to find, cosmic grace or whatever. And ultimately, I determined that we would call him Beau. Beau. Beau, that means beautiful, blessed by God, lucky, and just beloved. And now I adopt that. My car is parked over there. It says the Beau Life. So if you see this big white car, that's McArthur with the Beau Life telling you just to go out there and smile and feel good and show up and get it done. And so standing back and telling you people here about showing up and what you need in your toolbox for the 21st century, because things are changing, times are changing. In 1970, guys, 66% of Toronto was middle class. In 2005, 29% of Toronto is middle class. That's not our fault. But we're going to have to contend with that, and we're going to need some really good stuff in our toolbox to get through this and have a good living for us and for our kids. And I'm concerned about having the right tools in our toolbox because I am a mom. Because I want to make sure that there's something for them and something for me because I plan on living a good long time too, right? So criminal law, most people say, what on earth can you do with criminal law other than being a criminal lawyer? You know how to speak truth to power. You know how to configure your way out of a box because God forbid you don't want your client going to prison and you don't want to go to prison too. And sometimes when you really speak too much truth to power, they will threaten you with putting you in prison. I've had that. First case that I did, and I did it basically for free. You talk about giving before you get. My first brief, I got it when I was at that big blue blood law firm, and it was a kid with an IQ of 68. And he was alleged to have breached his bail by contacting children. And the Toronto police, thought he was a raging pedophile. They brought him into I'm going to tell this story because they brought him into the prisoner's box at Old City Hall. And the Crown, I wasn't there was duty counsel there. The Crown announced, and there were other prisoners in the prisoner's box, that he had sexually killed a 6-year-old boy named Leo Itkish. Well, you want to know what happened to my client when they took him back into the cells? His face was pulverized. Pulverized. I got a call from one of my wingmen clients at the Don Jail, whose last name happened to be Coke. And you got to know what he peddled. And good old Winston called me. I remember this. This was Easter weekend, so it's coming on for an anniversary now. Winston called me and said, Miss Karen, you have to get here. You have to get here. There's this boy, and he's not quite right, but his face isn't quite right either. So I showed up, and his eyeball was literally out of the socket. I was outraged, and I went to work. And I did most of that case for free. I got tutored by one of the best in the business, Marlis Edwards, who was partners with Clay Ruby. And I left McCarthy's with that case. That was the firm I was with. I left McCarthy's with that case. I also was a chain smoker for a time because it was very intense, that case. And I went to court and I defended Keith. Keith Legere was his name. And the judge, and there weren't any women doing this work. No woman, really. Very, very few doing this work. And I had long blonde hair, the swish, 28, whatever I was. He would just attack me. How can you be defending this man? You're a woman. I thank you to leave my ovaries outside this courtroom, sir. Woo! He was a polio victim. He had to, get out of the court as fast as he possibly could because he knew with my tongue he'd say something wrong and then he'd be in the clink. He'd be in trouble. So I had to be able to speak truth to power and bit by bit defend this man with, some charm and savoir-faire and whatever. But the judge had people sit there and watch me in case I crossed the line. So on the final sentencing day for my client, imagine this. Of course, this is why I smoked. Final sentencing day, over at 361 University, the guy in charge of the cells said, I think he's going to take you into custody. So I'm going to sit here so that when he orders that you go into custody for contempt of court for how you've done this, I'll be able to be careful with you when I put the handcuffs on. that takes a lot of guts, takes a lot of courage, and a lot of showing up. I saw this picture that I put on my Twitter and my Instagram and all that social media stuff, and it says this: stand up for what is right, even if you are standing alone. And I tweeted out, this should be on the inside of a criminal defense lawyer's robes. Again, it's that designer in me, right? Like, I just wanted to go, so I actually used that line today. I was out in Brantford doing something, and I was in with the judge, and there was like 6 lawyers there, and they told me to basically sit down, shut up, don't talk so much, don't get... I go, listen. I stood up. I go, listen, I know nobody really likes to hear a strident woman's voice. However, I'm going to stand up for what is right, even if I'm standing here alone, even if I'm all alone, and I'm going to speak my truth courageously, yet fearlessly. Ooh, that shut them down, right? Then they listened. So, although most people think the skill set of a criminal defense lawyer is not transferable, I believe that it is. And it's really necessary. I don't know how many, do you guys know crime's going down? Right? Crime's going down. Awesome. Awesome, right? We're going to live in a safer, saner society. There's all kinds of theories. One of them is that potentially it's because there's not the lead in the gasoline, right? Because in the 50s and 60s, when everybody was getting tooled up with the lead on the gasoline, this anger came out in the mainly young men, but it's really dying down. And so criminal law, doing the defense work, is very quiet. And I noticed that it became very quiet 2 years ago. So here I am, single mother raising 3 kids, going, oh my God, now what do I do? No work, no bread, no food. What do you do? You sit back and you go, okay, this is a global village we're living in. I'm Facebook lady. Let's figure out how to use social media. Let's connect. Let's reach out. So what do? I got a magazine. I slapped it down, and I said, I want to connect. I want to connect with that person. I want to connect with this person. I'm going to quickly, I got people on the Twitter, September of 2015, and I neglected to take a picture, or that would be the one and only AV or PowerPoint that I would show here. Friday night, Elon Musk asked to link in with me on LinkedIn. He promptly took that down, much to my dismay and neglect that I didn't take the picture of it. I did make sure my 11-year-old at the time came and saw it. He's like, wow, Mom, like that's pretty cool, right? That's the kind of thing you can do with courage, creativity, and confidence, just to go out there and show up. So my takeaway for you guys is, when I look at my choices and where I've gotten to at 51 and where I want to go to in the future, is leap. I found this on at a juice place. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Just think about that. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. So leap, get into the flow, get into the zone, do the thing that makes time stand still for you. Be creative, confident, courageous, and make a difference, people. You got one shot. That's it. That's all we get. One shot. Go out there, make a difference, live the bow life, be in the zone, smile, and show up.